We've got Mr. Bayo Rotimi, who joins us now. He's an investment banker and also a business market analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Always a pleasure.
Well, now we're talking about the ease of doing business. They put in place certain parameters, certain things to do. But let's start with from what we've heard. How much do you see them achieving?
It is important to look at the background. How did we get to where we are? Nigeria did not slip to the 169th out of 190 country position overnight. It has been the result of a failure of policy, a failure of implementation of those policies over the years. But we're where we are today, 169 out of 190, not a great place to be. But government has come up with a plan. There was a 60-day timeline which started counting 21st of February. So we're about in the middle. We have maybe another 30 odd days to April 21. It will be useful to see how well we're doing with regard to the quick wins. I saw the Vice President speaking about the emergency steps that are being taken. He's visited the airports, and there seems to be a lot of movement. What is important now is for the Nigerian people to know what actual successes have been recorded, and we need to keep on top of that so that we hold government accountable.
Yeah, because I mean, 60-day timeline. If they, with that 60-day timeline, can they achieve anything meaningful that will impact on our ranking from 169?
Well, I think government is approaching it from two perspectives. There is the immediate plan, which is 60 days. Let us deal with the quick wins. What are the simple things we can easily fix? We should be able to fix our flagship airport in Nigeria, Murtala Mohammed International Airport. We should be able to fix that to a reasonable extent within 60 days. The Abuja airport has been closed for 3 weeks. They say we have 3 more weeks to go. My expectation, and I expect the expectation of Nigerians, is at the end of that 6-week period, the airport will be ready and open for business. And it must be, hopefully, a thorough job must have been done with regard to the runway and all of that. So I think that is phase one. But inside of the economic growth and recovery plan, there is a more robust strategy in there. So the intention is over the next 4 years, between now and 2020, the government intends to bring down our ranking from 169 to 100 by the end of 2020.
Do you see them achieving it?
Well, they say talk is cheap.
That knocks off 69 countries.
Indeed. Well, it is, I would never write Nigeria and Nigerians off. We have pulled some major stunts out of our hearts in the past, but it is not enough to have a plan and a strategy. What is critical is the implementation of that plan. So this movement to 100 position inside of this economic growth and recovery plan, one of the things I like about that document is the government says on a quarterly basis, they will be updating Nigerians on the level of progress that is being made towards the actualization of that plan. So what is important is for all Nigerians, first of all, to read and study that document, and also to hold this government accountable to the delivery of those promises. Because it's very difficult for me to sit here today and say it is achievable or it is not. History has shown that we have not really delivered on our promises in the past. But this government says, trust us, we will do it differently. So the jury is out. So let us all Nigerians hold them accountable to those promises.
Power is a factor of production, and it goes to say that every country needs that to be able to advance economically. The Gencos are already complaining that over the past 1 week they have been unable to generate electricity. How will this impact the persistent power concerns that we face in this country? How will that impact on this new plan that the government has?
Thank you again, but I think there are several elements to the ease of doing business, and power, like you rightly said, is one of them. Access to finance, other critical infrastructure, sanctity of contracts and all of that. So there is a lot that needs to be done. to move us from 169 to 100. Power is a major challenge in Nigeria, but the Minister of Power will remind us that that sector has been privatized. So we have private sector operatives in charge of generation and in charge of distribution. Now, the government is still in charge of transmission, and the government has created a supervisor for that industry, the NERC. The NERC is supposed to drive tariffs so that we can have a cost-reflective tariff. The structure we have today is not sustainable. The industry is on the verge of collapse, and there has to be a major overhaul, starting from the source of supply of power for the generating companies, which is gas, right? Are they buying gas at the right price? Now, when they generate the power and they sell the power to the bulk trader, does the bulk trader have the financial capacity to pay for the power? Right now, the GENCOs have supplied power for which they have not been paid. And it goes down the line. The distribution companies also collect power, sell power to people. Some of those people do not pay. So there is a series of defaults along the power value chain. So what we need to do now is to, take a step back and identify the critical sources of these challenges. How do we get supply for gas, for example? How do we improve our transmission infrastructure? Because it's not enough to have potentially 7,000 to 12,000 megawatts worth of generating capacity, but our transmission infrastructure can only wheel half of that out. So there are losses from there. On the distribution side, a lot of the equipment is obsolete. Have the GENCOs or the DISCOs been able to invest in critical equipment? No, because they are dealing with a debt overhang. They are dealing with MDAs who owe them money who haven't paid. They are dealing with the challenge of not being able to sell power at a cost-reflective tariff. So there is a need for us Nigerians to look ourselves in the eyes and take some hard decisions. If the pricing is not right, then the players in the industry cannot make money and we cannot have power.
Let me bring this point in. We'll still continue in this train of thought. One thing that worries a lot of people, because many have talked about policies. You also highlighted some part of it. They want to see those regulatory authorities on one same page. Now that the government has come up with this, they expect them all to be on the same page. But what we've been reading lately, the Ministry of Finance and that of the CBN appears to be at loggerheads. And many are worried and concerned about it. I mean, you saw that as well. Do you think that this is perhaps now, maybe just on the surface and not really deep-seated?
Thank you very much, Chamberlain. I believe myself, and I'm sure a number of Nigerians were worried